A new Sonic movie trailer was released, and wow, is it better! Star Wars and Pokemon dropped, so how are those doing on the same day, competing with each other? And Google Stadia is odd, to say the least. Hey everyone, it's me, Shimp, here on Wumpa Time, and I'm joined with my co-host,
Canadian guy. Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hello. Hi everyone, and now we're going to start with just some quick news to get it out of the way before we get into the beef, because we have a lot to say about these last two things. So, the first thing is, let me get it up here, XO19 just happened, which is like Xbox's own E3, I guess.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that they announced was that Project xCloud, which is Xbox's like streaming service, is coming to PC next year, and it will support other controllers. Like you can play Xbox games with a PS4 controller, I guess. And they announced that they're adding 50 new games, and one of those is Devil May Cry 5, which is a pretty big contender for a PC. So that's pretty big, I guess, if you're an Xbox fan.
But also, in terms of size, too, another piece of quick news is Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. There's a whole bunch of Final Fantasy. I think there's 8 of them. So both Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are coming to Xbox One, and all the Final Fantasies are coming to Xbox as well, which is the first time ever. I was hoping that they were going to release the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 before they released 3 to Xbox One, because that didn't make any sort of sense to release 3 first and then 1 and 2 later. However, better late than never. We finally got a whole bunch of Final Fantasy games that were only experienced originally on the PlayStation, now on the Xbox Store, along with Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, even though there are a whole bunch of other Kingdom Hearts games that you need to play to be able to make heads or tails of anything, but you can get the basic gist of the story.
Do you know if it's physical or is it digital only?
I believe the Final Fantasies are probably going to be digital, but I believe that the Kingdom Hearts is going to be physical, from my knowledge. I'm not 100% sure, though.
That's so weird. That's such weird timing.
It is. I thought there was going to be licensing issues, but hey, they got it to work.
I mean, sure. I don't know if Xbox fans are the best demographic for Kingdom Hearts, but sure.
Why not?
Cool, I guess. So next up, we have a new game from the developers of Life is Strange. I'm not sure if you ever played that.
I haven't, but a lot of people have been talking about it.
I know a lot of people who adore it, but we have a new game called Tell Me Why. I don't know a lot about it. All I know is that this is the first video game protagonist, or hero as they say, from a major studio and publisher to have a transgendered main character. So that's pretty cool. I wasn't a huge fan of Life is Strange. I streamed it and I thought it was really funny for all the wrong reasons. But I'll probably check this out. I know it's going to be episodic, but sure, I'll check it out.
It's not my cup of tea in terms of like gameplay style. Like I wasn't into Life is Strange.
Oh yeah, understandable.
I was watching it. It was just, it's not my cup of tea. But speaking of new IPs, there's also a new IP coming from Rare, of all places, which I was shocked to hear, and it is called Everwild.
Banjo 3. Oh. Never mind.
We wish. No, it's called Everwild. And it is this weird looking world that's like a cross between like Avatar and almost like, I don't know, Ori and the Blind Forest. It's very pretty looking, very interesting, different art style from Sea of Thieves. And I'm very excited to see what Rare does with it. Very excited.
It looks like a weird mixture visually of like Sea of Thieves with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, but then you got these weird animals, like I said, almost like Avatar-like. So
it's like a mixture of Avatar and I guess No Man's Sky in terms of just animals.
Yeah, but I'm interested. Color me intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what the game is, but it looks pretty.
It looks pretty.
And then our last bit of news, again, it's all Xbox themed, but another IP, I don't know who the developer is. Oh, it's Obsidian. Obsidian announced they're doing this. It's a game called Grounded, and it's like a first-person co-op survival game where you're shrinked down to the size of an ant in like a front yard, and you're just running around where all these bugs and trash are. It's like, you ever play the old Bugs Life game on PS1?
Yeah, I remember it.
It's like, imagine that on a bigger scope, but it's first person. I don't know. That's what my mind immediately went to. I don't know what they're aiming for. I I assume this is going to be a kids game.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
And us too, and like a bunch of other people because it's a co-op game.
Yeah.
But I guess Xbox is just trying to get more kid-friendly games because they already lost Super Lucky's Tale.
Yeah, I mean, I am intrigued to see how they do it though, because it's like a survival game. So I mean, I don't think it's going to be exactly like 100% directed towards kids, but I think kids will pick up on it. I think it's going.
Yeah,
it's intriguing. I don't think I'll pick it up, but I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to really, really dig it. So.
Yeah, I'll check it out. If it's $60, I'll wait.
Yeah.
If it's like $40, I'll consider picking it up, but I don't think I want to pay $60 for it just yet. I mean, we just learned about it, so
yeah,
I'll keep in touch with it.
Yeah.
So with that out of the way, we are going to be diving into our first big news story: the Sonic movie trailer, the new one released, and whew,
it's
I was not expecting that.
Neither was I. So, I mean, we saw that there were leaked designs, but I mean, people have been coming up with leaked designs and calling it the leaked design for like the past few months. And so, when we actually finally saw the final design and in motion, I mean,
oh my God, in motion.
It's so much better. It is so much better. It's, you know, they definitely took a page out of thinking, okay, let's throw necessarily like realism out the door because we need to appease the fans. Now there's still realism to it, but it's not like the original freaking scary, terrifying
just dude fursuit thing.
It was awful. It was awful.
So the one thing that I remember reading like back before all this happened, when the first trailer dropped, I think it was the director or the producer that was like, if he looks cartoony, he wouldn't fit with the real world, so we had to fix him. And people were quick to be like, well, Pikachu is, Pikachu.
Yeah.
And it looks fine.
I think it was the producer, I think, because the
Tim Miller, I think his name is.
I'm not sure.
He was the director of Deadpool.
Yeah, the director, like from my knowledge, the director was the one who was very, very open to criticism. He originally, I think it was one of the producers, because there was a story of another producer that actually drove over to the director's house when the initial trailer launched, and the internet just blew up with how terrible it looked. And like, it was like, man, the way the internet exploded with it, everyone hated it.
This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this in terms of Hollywood.
Well, yeah, this is one of the first times where everyone saw the trailer and they actually reacted and were like, this is bad. Now, it took a few days, if I remember correctly. It did take a few days.
Oh, yeah, it took longer than it needed to.
Yeah, because, they needed to, but also, too, they probably needed to figure out, they probably needed to talk to, I believe it's Paramount that's doing it, right? They probably need to talk to Paramount producers and everyone saying, listen, we need to fix this. We need to adjust this. And the shocking thing that I saw was the fact that they listened, one, and not just, but not just did they listen, they reshot. What makes me interested is that Paramount has so much faith in this movie that they put up, and I working in the industry, they put up millions. There are millions of additional dollars added.
Let me see if they updated the budget.
Yeah.
I want to see if they updated the public budget.
Right, but there were millions of dollars added to the production of this movie, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they would do that, because you got, most of the time, these production companies, they would just say, okay, just shove it out the door and just, make as much money as we can on it and call it a loss and move on with our life. But they actually stopped and took the time and said, okay, let's try to make this right. Because, video game movies have a history of not being too great. But I think it might have But I think it might have been Detective Pikachu, which was a paradigm shift within Hollywood, because Detective Pikachu, in my opinion, was excellent. And most people thought the same, even reviewers. Most people Most people love Detective Pikachu. And I get a feeling that Detective Pikachu helped with them actually stopping and changing what they were doing, because, most video game movies, they failed.
Yeah.
But then Detective Pikachu didn't. It was a success, and a very, very good success.
And even though a lot of video game movies fail here, they are, there's a big market for them over in China, because
and
I'm
Japan.
sure And Japan, yeah. I'm sure you know because you're a big fan of the series. The Warcraft movie did awful in America, but over in China, it exploded. Like I want to say 70 or 80% of its revenue was from China.
It passed Star Wars in China. Think about that for a second.
Star Wars. Warcraft. Oh, wow.
It passed Star
I didn't put that
Wars.
into perspective.
Like this is like Star Wars is the defining sci-fi series of all time. Star Wars is like the gateway, and it passed Star Wars, and that was something that I thought was incredibly impressive, something that I thought was amazing. And the movie made a massive amount of money, but it did terrible in American theaters. But it also did great in Europe, though. That's the interesting fact. It did great in Europe, it did great in China, it did awful in North America. So
something we should also specify for the Sonic movie, Sega has like little to no input on this. All that they can do is react. They have no creative control.
Right. Now, the person who actually helped redesign Sonic, which I think is one of the best stories ever, was
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, it was the guy that came up with a bunch of fan art, and he was the one who came up with the joke. He was famous for making the joke for, instead of Knuckles the Echidna, it was Nipples the Enchilada, right?
Yeah, he made the comic Hedgehog the Sonic.
Yeah.
And it was I remember reading that in high school, and I had no idea that he did that. He was like, "Whoa, Nipples the Enchilada, Arms the Flying Fox." He also directed the Sonic Mania cartoons that were promotional. He did that, and then the animated show for Team Sonic Racing. He does everything. He's like the godfather of Sonic's design, like modern design right now.
Right.
He was brought into Paramount to work with all the modelers, the riggers, the textures, the fur artists, and animators over in London and I think Vancouver, and he was like the lead design. And the fact that he can go from Nipples the Enchilada to fixing a Hollywood movie of a budget of over $90 million really says something.
It does. And also what they probably did is, and when they brought him in, when they show him all the different animations, all the rigs, all the bones, they probably told him, okay, here's all the footage and here's what we got for the rigs and stuff. This is like this, you can only have the head this size at max and this at minimum. You can only have the arms at this size and then this size at minimum. And they probably gave him all the specifications and were like, okay, now design something that will fit with this rig overall.
Yeah.
And he did. He must have, right? Because they don't want to have to absolutely botch the entire rig. They want to be able to scale it and be able to, do right by it. And obviously he took whatever it was that they had set for terms of the, now just in case for those viewers who don't know, what a rig essentially is the bones for CGI.
Yes,
So,
it's a skeletal system.
a skeletal system, right? And you build a rig and then you put the rig on the model, right? And then you move the rig and in turn moves the model, right? So you can adjust the rig, but if you adjust the rig, you're going to be messing with a lot of things, right? So they probably got him to design a Sonic that was compatible with the current rig that they had for the old Sonic, or minimal changes required. Because what you can do, and you can see it, is that people do model swaps, and what they'll do is that they'll you see it in fan games, you see it in what else? You see it in sometimes CTR, for example. All the Nitro girls have the same rigs, and sometimes that glitch happens where you see those deformed models, and it's because what happens is essentially is the rig and the models swap, and if it's not a compatible rig, things go wonky. But because the Nitro girls have the exact same rig, you'll see Amy doing the Isabella motions, and it looks perfectly fine. It works.
Looks perfect, yeah.
It's fine. And the reason why is because the rig, it got swapped. And it's the same rig. So it's just different animations now. So what they did was that they probably brought them in and were like, okay, here's the rig. Build something around this rig so that it doesn't destroy the rest of the movie.
So what we should also clarify is that you have experience in this industry.
Yes.
So he's not just talking just because. You've worked in this industry.
Yes.
You know how this works.
Yes, I worked at specifically a visual effects and animation company. So I know how this works. I've seen them work. Now, did I do the visual effects? No, they sent me the visual effects and I put it in place. That's all I did, and made sure that everything was in sync and
you chroma keyed it.
Yeah. Well, basically, right. I made sure that everything looked nice, but I, of course, was watching and I was learning, and I was, I was there for 2.5 years, and I was able to really, really develop and pick up a whole bunch of stuff. And so when it comes to this stuff, I do have a very good grasp of what's going on, right? And how everything is done and how everything works within the pipeline. And
oh yeah.
So I'm not some of these people that just talk out their butt thinking that they know what they're talking about. I actually have knowledge behind this, which is something that I think is really, really good. So that's why I'm so impressed with the Sonic movie. That's why I'm so happy with it. That's why I can't wait to see it, because I want to be able to, in terms of a fan of Sonic, I do want to watch it because of that, but I do want to also see it as a visual effects marvel, because to see how it went from one point to another, and what shots did they redo? How did they fix it? How did they adjust it? Because you would be shocked. You would be shocked.
That was something else.
Yeah. You would be shocked on what is actually like CGI and visual effects. There was some stuff that we would be doing for like soap operas. And you'd be like, wait, why would you need anything for a soap opera? Yeah. Seriously, soap operas would send stuff for visual effects for pimple removal. That's it. Pimple removal.
Are you kidding me?
I'm serious. I am serious. There is CGI for a lot of these soap operas or these dramas that you normally wouldn't think that there would be a lot of CGI, like these crime shows or whatever. You get your action-packed scenes, but then you get these scenes where, the lady leans down and takes off her glasses to look at the investigation. Well, then they messed up and realized that the camera is reflecting off the glasses, so they send it into CGI.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. Or there's a big, someone's got a massive pimple, and so the CGI removes that. You would be shocked as how much special effects goes into that. But I'm very excited to see how they do the Sonic movie. And like you were about to say, they did reshoots for this.
They reshot a lot. Mm-hmm. Like a lot more than I thought. I had a couple quick more points before we moved on from this, but one of them was the fact that they reshot some stuff. Like the big thing is the scene where they're driving in the truck. Mm-hmm. In the original trailer, Tom, the regular guy, was just wearing a black shirt,
right?
And Sonic was just like sitting there, like looking at him. He wasn't doing anything.
In terms of like 3D arting, and the way, or 3D arting, the 3D like
arting,
the arting's a word, right? No. The way that was set up, I died on the inside. I was dying on the inside. How bad the composition was, and how
and like the lighting, everything about Sonic just looked like he was just kind of placed there, and that's why I thought it was so early. Like they just put out a trailer even though it wasn't even done or baked, because so much didn't fit. If you go back to the original trailer, which also I should mention, Paramount deleted. Like they don't have the original trailer on their channel anymore. so that one's gone.
What are you talking about?
So Sonic's just sitting there staring at him, and they keep cutting back to them talking and then to the front of the truck, and in every cut nothing happened. He's just sitting there.
He might as well be in T-pose.
What's happening? Sonic's just T-posing, looking at him. And if you look at the new one, he's flailing around, his legs and arms are in the air, his face is expressing, he's jumping around and sticking his head out the window, and the shadow from the truck actually looks like it's baked. He looks like he's part of the world, even though he does look like a CG character. I'm hoping they kind of maybe add a couple more touches here and there before the final movie, like they did with Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but in the original trailer, his suit was like almost all CG.
Yeah.
And they dialed it back. But he looks so much better. And another thing is that someone from the inside did mention that the VFX artists and all the riggers and animators and everyone, they were not crunched for time. They were given an extended salary. They were given more time. They were given breaks, and everything was very nicely paced. So no one was like working Enter the Dragonfly situation where they were like at their desk hunched over with a can of beans working night and day.
Yeah. I've been in crunch before. It sucks. Crunch sucks very much, and to know that those visual effects artists were not in crunch is something that is makes me very happy to hear. I'm very happy to hear that.
And last thing I'll say is I find this really interesting that the movie was supposed to release in 2018 by Sony.
Right.
And then it was pushed to the year after by Paramount. So how much was this movie done with Sony? Because that's only a year. Like, you can't make a movie in a year,
well,
especially one like this.
Yeah. So I mean, you can with any amount of money, you can make anything in a certain amount of time with any amount of money. But I would say that they were in early concepts. So in 1 year of like setting, it depends. Is it 1 year of pre-production or 1 year of production? Because you would be shocked of how long pre-production is compared to post, and because it goes pre-production, production, post, right? And pre-production, for example, pre-production can be 2 years, and then production can be 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Right, because production is just go every day. You're shooting for every day for 6 months. You're shooting go get it done, and then post production can take a year, can take 2-3 years depending on how big the movie is, depending on the CGI, depending on what the budget is, depending on its size. So. And that's why the Hobbit had, if you look at the Lord of the Rings originally had like 3 years of pre-production before they started Fellowship. It was like 2 or 3 years. They but then he had 3 years, if I remember correctly the number, he had 3 years of pre-production, and then he had 8 months of shooting, and then a year and a half of post for the first movie. But the problem was that that 3 years he was setting up for the trilogy. He was setting up for that.
Oh.
For the Hobbit, he only had 1 year to set up 3 movies.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Ew.
so yeah, he was kind of in a panic.
So
he was in a panic.
This is just an interesting situation where a movie, like, how much do you think was done with Sony, because it was transitioned in a year?
Well, I mean, we did see like early concepts, remember, of Sonic with his feet up on the back of the cop's head.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The little cute Sonic. The
more, kind of a mix between the old and the new.
Yeah, a little bit of a mix. The really cute Sonic. I got a feeling that was the initial stuff that Sony's doing. I mean, sometimes there are movies that are worked on for a year and then just ditched, like, and then you never hear of it again, right? Just
like all the PlayStation movies.
Yeah. Like you got the Sly Cooper movie, you got all these different stuff.
God of War, Last of Us,
God of War, Last
Uncharted.
of Us. Well, I mean, yeah, they go into sometimes they hit production, they go halfway through production and say nope, just cut our losses, just stop. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of movies where that happens, right? So, but before we go on a tangent with movies, I think we should move on to the next topic.
Yeah, we should move on to the next topic. Luckily, it's a double topic.
Yeah.
Today, time of recording, and hopefully, not when it uploads. This uploads on Saturday, right?
Yeah. So it's Friday.
Yeah, so tomorrow.
Today is November 15th.
So today, because I put them out at work yesterday, Pokemon Sword and Shield and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order came out today.
Yes.
And that's an interesting pairing. We have two really popular series going up against each other in sales, like at least today.
Yeah.
And with Pokemon, well, that's my phone. With Pokemon, they released a double pack.
Yeah.
I had no idea until today. And all you get is like a crystal, and I don't know what it is. And it's the same price as just buying both games by themselves.
Well, I mean,
so
you get a little bonus.
Pokemon's been kind of weird. A lot of controversy, a lot of lying apparently from Game Freak and the Pokemon Company. I have no opinion on if I hate them or not. It's just Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, I'll play it probably, but a lot of people are
passionate.
What's the word? They're passionate about it, and they're a little hurt, I guess, that they lied, because one of the big lies was that they said that they were going to be remaking all the models from scratch, and the game leaked like last week.
Yeah.
So they were comparing the models to the 3DS model, or 3DS models from like Sun and Moon, X and Y.
Right.
And they're the same exact model.
Yeah. So the big thing about this whole situation with Pokemon Sword and Shield is, yes, they're the same models, but you also have to think too, like, I think there could have been like a translation error or an understanding error, but also at the same time, Game Freak did mess up. Like, I'm not defending Game Freak completely on this, because Game Freak did mess up, but this is more of a PR nightmare than it is
definitely
actual content nightmare, right? So, for example, they were saying you got the 3DS models, right? The problem is that the 3DS stuff is compressed to crap, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
the
definitely.
compression on these models from Sun and Moon. I mean, they make these beautiful rigs, and then the rigs have to be compressed down to itty bitty, right? So
yeah. So what people don't know is that these models were made like when X and Y was coming out.
Right.
So they made these models super high quality for the future.
Right.
Like these were made
Future-proofed.
for years in advance. Exactly. And people think that they're just ripping the models from the 3DS version.
No.
When that isn't the case. They're using the high quality models that they had before and touching them up here and there.
Right, yeah. So they're retexturing. They're taking the same models, and because I mean the models are fine. Like I don't understand.
Oh, yeah.
Like but what happened was that the models are fine, but now you have a 720p screen, and then upscaled to 1080, and so you get a much better. You can take those high quality models and put them into the game, and they're a much higher quality. Like for example, games are massive before they get compressed for disc. Like for example, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember what Spyro was, because I do have the number. I think Spyro was 2 terabytes before they compressed it. And
oh man,
2 terabytes, and I'm trying to remember because it might have been 4. It was either 2 or 4 terabytes. I can't remember. But Spyro uncompressed, we'll say 2. We'll lowball it and say 2 terabytes.
Okay, 2 terabytes
For Spyro alone before they started compressing, and they were able to compress it down to 67 gigabytes initially, and now they're even compress it even further to 30. I think it was like 32 or 37.
That's really impressive.
That is very impressive. And Toys for Bob is very good at compression. They know what they're doing. They ported an Insane trilogy. It runs beautiful. They ported the Reignited trilogy. Runs pretty good. It's a game that has no business being on Switch, and there it is on Switch.
Oh,
It works fine. So, but when it comes to Pokemon, I guarantee you that people wouldn't be freaking out as much if it wasn't for Game Freak screwing up PR wise, because content wise, it's good.
That and I think the biggest thing that people keep bringing up is the fact that the national dex isn't supported.
Yeah.
Because yesterday we actually had someone who came in, because I work at a local store, and they were like, I didn't know you guys get new games. I was like, yeah, we get all the new ones. And they were like, I didn't know the new Pokemon was coming out. And I explained to them that not every Pokemon is coming in, and he was like, can you look up one for me? I was like, yeah, sure. Which one do you want? And then he goes, is Dragonite in there? And I look it up, and I was like, it doesn't look like Dragonite's in there. And he's like, oh man, looks like I'll sit this one out. I was like, dude, there's like so many more Pokemon in there. Like,
there's
don't not play it because of that one.
Like 450.
Exactly. Like, that's so many more Pokemon.
Right. And this is where, like I said, this is where my problem is that if it wasn't for this PR, would you be picking the game up, right? And
yeah,
that's where I'm like, people are losing their minds, and then people all of a sudden become over analytical on issues with the game. Like, oh, look at the shadows of this game. I'm like, yeah, it's the Switch.
Look at the trees. Look at the popping.
Yeah. Look at the popping. Look at the render distance. Yeah, it's the Switch. Like,
have you seen Breath of the Wild? Have you seen that popping?
Yeah. Have you seen when the wind blows and the frame rate dies?
Have you seen when the game function and the frame rate dies?
Right. Like the game is still phenomenal, but if you enter any battle with more than 3 people and the wind blows, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well just like close the game and relaunch it and hope you don't get the wind again.
So I mean, like, or when it rained, oh gosh,
when it
right. And
I was like, am I playing a slideshow or is the game still functioning?
Right. And to the credit to the Switch, not discrediting, I played Breath of the Wild to death in the Switch.
I adore the Switch.
The Switch was fantastic, but I mean, it's the Switch. You have to take it with a grain of salt. So all of a sudden, there's all these issues. Look at all the popping. Look at all this stuff. This is bad game development. Game Freak rushed the game. This, that, and the other. And it's like, that's a technical limitation when it gets to that point. If you want to criticize the national dex and what they said, yeah, I fine. That's to your prerogative.
Yeah, I understand that.
That's your prerogative. You want to do that, that's okay. Personally, for me, I kind of can understand. I mean, it got to the point, I remember playing Sun and Moon. It's like, okay, you need to catch 985 Pokemon. I'm like, yeah. I ain't about that, Chief. Like I love, like, I love collecting Pokemon, but now that it's at 400 or 450, I feel like it's actually something I can achieve now. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's doable.
It's nothing that like is bad. It's like, I understand people are mad that they're, a huge chunk of Pokemon are not in there. But what Game Freak should have said was we wanted to focus on less amount of Pokemon to make a higher quality game. That's it. And
yeah, exactly.
And then leave it there. And just leave it there. So people will keep screaming, the National Dex, the National Dex, the National Dex, and then you say nothing, and then they quiet down and they move on. But no, they kept talking, and they kept talking and talking and talking and talking. It's like, Game Freak, shut up. just shut up.
But we just want to let them know. No, stop. No.
Just stop.
No.
Shut up. Because that's how this all stemmed. This stemmed from the National Dex. And then, they just kept talking and talking and talking, and then now people are cherry picking. And because I've played the game already. I've played a decent amount. Not like a crazy amount, but I've started it already. It's fun and it's good, and I love it.
Yeah, it looks fun. The only reason I've been like hesitant, because I love Pokemon, but like recently for the past couple Pokemon games, I've been like, is because when I played Sun and Moon,
right,
and then Ultra Sun and Moon. Like, that's when they started turning into basically a visual novel with how much like text is going on, and I saw the beginnings portions of Sword and Shield. And it clicked to me that this is gonna be a slow beginning. Like, this is gonna take a while for me to get through.
Yeah, well, so far I've been enjoying it. It's pretty good, fairly simple, straightforward. What's really cool is that they actually allow like a lot of stuff that's pretty that allows you to skip. Like, for example, there's a whole bunch of tutorials you can skip right away. Like, do you want to catch Pokemon? Do you want to learn how to catch Pokemon? No. Okay, go, move on.
Oh, okay, cool.
So skip.
Thank you.
So stuff like that, then skip. Another thing that I noticed I thought was really interesting was that when I was playing, and like I said, I've just started, but I've gotten about 3 hours into the game. But something that I noticed was that now some people are going to accuse us of hand holding or of being stupid, but I thought it was kind of neat was that you have your move types, right? You got your normal type, you got your grass moves, but the thing is that it will tell you whether or not it's super effective, not effective, or just effective against the Pokemon you're about to hit them with. It'll tell you right there.
Oh, wait, no, it didn't. Okay, that's really cool.
Right, so it's kind of like, hey, you're facing a water type, and it'll say on your grass move, super effective. And it's like, okay, that's cool.
That's neat.
So it's like,
now
that works. I like it.
So does another thing that I was hesitant about was the Gigantamaxing and the Dynamaxing.
Yeah.
Is that just like Z moves and Omega Evolutions?
Basically, it's like a cross between Z moves and Mega Evolution. I think I haven't gotten to that point yet, but basically what it is, you Dynamax a Pokemon, and when you Dynamax them, they have enhanced moves and attacks and stats for like 3 turns.
Yeah. I don't know. The Z moves I never used. The Omega Evolutions I never used. Is this like completely optional, or do they make you do it?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm still in the early stages of the game. But I mean, like I saw the Dynamax and I was kind of just like, like, Mega Evolution I really liked. Z moves, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's subtle, but it's cool. And then the Dynamax, I was just kind of like, personally.
Now, I'm also curious if the Pokeball works.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but there is actually something else that I do want to talk about. Transitioning a little bit, but a few things. So one of the things I thought was really interesting was I went to the midnight launch yesterday, right, for Pokemon, and it's I went to my local mall, and they had for Pokemon Sword and Shield, they had 300 pre-orders.
What?
300 for Pokemon alone.
Just that store.
Just that store. One store.
Wow.
And there's like 5 of them in like the vicinity, like within like a 20-minute drive of each other. There's like 5 of them. 300.
300. Oh. Wow.
Yeah, 300. Now, this is something that I thought was really interesting is that somebody on Twitter, they talk about like retail shipments and stuff. But they said, and I quote, they said that if the sell-through rate is as high as he thinks it's going to be, it's going to beat Super Smash Brothers.
Ooh, that's a bold claim because Smash just outsold Street Fighter 2 as the best fighting game.
Well, yeah, but
best-selling fighting game.
Yeah, but like Smash Brothers sold like in the first month, I think it was 3 million units in the first month.
Oh, you mean in the first month?
Yeah, in the first month. They're saying that in the first month, Pokemon is going to pass. In its first month, it will pass Super Smash Brothers. That's huge. That's big.
That's a bold stat. I'm going to be really interested in seeing the sales numbers.
So, but now to flip to the other side, when I asked, because I'm really good friends with the manager, like I've been going to the store for like 10 years now, and I met her when she was a clerk, and now she's the manager. So, you know, we talk a lot and we chill. And she, I asked them, I said, how many pre-orders did you get for Star Wars? And they got 10 on the Xbox and 15 on the PlayStation 4.
See, that's more understandable.
Yeah.
Those are realistic numbers.
Yeah.
Because we get, like, for Call of Duty at work, we got like 10 or so max altogether.
Right.
But we sold out like 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just because pre-orders, you don't make money off of pre-orders.
Yeah.
So stores don't push them, but that's more reasonable. Have you gotten a chance to play it?
I haven't played the new Star Wars yet, but from the now this is where I think is where it comes in, because I think it was really dumb for EA to go up against Pokemon to release on the same day.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
Very, very stupid idea. But on top of that, something else that I thought was very, very stupid was that the embargo for the reviews.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up. What were they thinking?
The embargo was literally midnight of Eastern Standard Time. Midnight of Why?
Why
Of the launch?
There's no reason.
But here is where which also doesn't make any sense. The game is scoring 8s, 9s, and 10s.
Yeah, it scored higher than Death Stranding and Pokemon.
It's doing great. Why did you like?
I was thinking, like, do they think this isn't going to score well? The video, like people couldn't even do videos about it until today.
Right, and that's why I was so confused. I was just like, why? Why would you not talk about this? This makes no sense.
The only negative thing I've seen is that I haven't seen the PS4 version, but on the Xbox One S, it is an ungodly optimized mess. Like, it is unoptimized super bad on the 1S and the original Xbox One. Like,
it chugs.
You can just start. It chugs, and the texture pop in is horrendous.
Okay.
Like, you just start playing and it just looks like a PS1 game at one point, and then you stop, and then it's all like, and it pops in. But if you're playing the game and you're running through and you're climbing and you're doing all your things, the game will like freeze exactly where you're at just to load the next section. Like,
I haven't heard that for PlayStation. That's interesting though.
And I haven't heard anything about the PS4,
right.
But on the 1S there are tons and tons of videos of people climbing up this certain section, running through, and then the game freezes, and then you just slowly see everything in front of you start popping in, and then you start playing.
Dear.
Also, the game on the 1S caps at 720p. Like, it can't hit 1080p.
What?
I know, right?
What year is this?
What? Now, I expected that on the original Xbox One, because the original one
can only go to 900p.
It can't hit 1080p, so I understand that. But on the Xbox One X, you have 2 modes.
Right.
You have performance mode, which is 1080p uncapped frame rate, and it hovers around 45 to 50 frames. And then you have the quality mode, which is a capped 30 at 1440p, so 2K. Now for PS4 Pro, I don't know. I imagine it's going to be doing some sort of checkerboarding thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And the thing that also kind of confuses me is that the game runs on Unreal 4 and not DICE, like every other EA game.
Right, which is interesting. The Frostbite engine, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why I said DICE. Yeah, the Frostbite engine. But I don't know. This game has also been really confusing marketing-wise, like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because when they first announced it, it was just like, okay, cool, Star Wars. What's the gameplay like? We don't know. Okay. And then this E3, they showed that very linear scripted gameplay segment, and my first thought was, oh, this looks like The Force Unleashed if the Force was leashed. So the Force leashed. And then like last month is when I learned, oh, it's Dark Souls. Why didn't you just show that in the first place?
Yeah, it's the marketing has been terrible, but apparently, like I said, the quality is there. People have been saying it's really good.
It looks really good.
Like, let me just look up the Metacritic score right now. Like, I know we just did a thing about review scores, but I'm interested to see what people are saying. Yeah, it's right now got an 84.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and the user score is like 8.3.
Yeah, there's only like one mixed review so far. It's a 7. That's their lowest.
That's super good.
Like right now,
that's really good for EA.
Yeah, like their lowest right now is a 70. Like when your lowest is a 7, and then their highest is a 9. So no 10s, but we got 9. If you're, I mean, that's a solid game. That's a really solid game.
They're getting close to God of War scores where there are like no negative reviews.
Yeah, like people are acknowledging that there's an issue here and there, but it's good. It's solid. And I'm sure that some of these issues that people are having could be patched, right? So I mean,
oh, yeah, I hope so. At least for Xbox users.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where I'm confused as to why they didn't push the marketing for this game. And why it was done the way it was, and then because the pre-orders show, like I said, the initial interest, and a lot of people also are hesitant because it's EA, right? People have been burned way too many times by Battlefront. People have been burned way too many times in terms of just EA in general. And so
FIFA, Madden, all the sports games,
all of them, terrible. And so this is why a lot of people are just like, nope, I'm going to wait for the reviews. And they should have known that.
That's what we were saying.
They should have known that. They should have known, hey, everyone was saying, I'm going to wait for the reviews. And now people are still going to be hesitant because, like I said, the reviews came out at such an awkward time. I would have released the reviews 5 days early. I would have.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have, because the thing is that if Respawn makes a really good game, really great games, they've got high quality. Even if you don't like their games, the quality of their games are really high. And if they were smart, they would have saw the controversy that was going on with Pokemon, and they would have figured out in some way, shape, or form, probably easily, figure out when the embargo was for Pokemon, and then released a review before Pokemon's review, so that people would have had a chance to be able to say, you know what, maybe I'll give this game a try instead of Pokemon, because they would see how they would score, because like I said, people look at review scores, and they would look at the score, and I'm thinking in terms of marketing, that would have been a much better move on EA's part, but we didn't even know until the day before, the day of.
I'm wondering if they didn't have faith in the game, because the rumor was that if EA messed up one more time with Star Wars, because Battlefront 2 was like the backlash from the U.S. government. if the government has to get involved with your video game for children, that's a problem. Now, the rumor was that if EA messed up one more time, like if this game didn't sell well, if it didn't score well, if people hated it, Disney was going to retract the rights from EA, which they should have done, and give it to someone like, I don't know, Sony or even Microsoft. Like any one of those studios could have done a lot better. But I can confirm that when you boot up the game and go to the main menu, there is no option to sign into your EA account.
Good.
And there is no store option. So it's either new game, load game, options. That's all you need.
Good.
That's all that's there. And if you want a really good video about the technical achievements and limitations of the game, Digital Foundry uploaded a really, really good video about it, and they go in depth about that Xbox One problem.
Right.
Because they only were shipped the Xbox One version for whatever reason. Like they could only cover that version of
course
when the game launched.
Right.
So I would go to them after you listen to us and just watch that. It's like maybe 15 minutes or so. It's a really good video.
Talking about something that's really good, but not really at all. We're gonna
a good topic.
A really good topic. Google Stadia.
Oh, okay. I've actually had experience with this one.
Oh, you've had experience with it. So here,
you go first.
I'll go first as the inexperienced person. So before we even start with the news, I still cannot grasp the concept that Google has come up with, where you pay $10 per month to get the 4K streaming, but then you have to pay $60 to get the game streamed to you. Okay,
I have to pay a monthly service to play the games.
I have to pay
in better quality.
I have to pay a monthly service to play the games in a better quality, and I have to pay for the game. And if Stadia goes down, I lose the game. So
Yep.
So if you spend $2,000 and they say, okay, Stadia isn't making enough money, adios amigos, do you think they're going to send you a Steam code for the games that you paid for?
No.
Do you think that they're... No! They're not going to do anything.
We both know how Google works. If something doesn't work right away, they just abandon it.
Yeah, so guess what? Bye to your money, bye to your games, goodbye to your accounts, and there's nothing that you can do about it because people thought and invested money into it. And so before we even begin, Google Stadia, like if I still think that if Google Stadia came forward and said, hey, you pay $10 a month, but you can buy games for a brand new game for $45. Now there's a reason for you to be like,
that's cool.
Okay, it's like now I get it. I get the shtick. The shtick is that I don't own the game, but I get it for a much cheaper price, and it's streamed to me in 4K, and I don't need to buy the consoles. Now there's a reason, and it kind of makes sense. So it's like, okay, I could buy it physically, because for some people, Stadia might be like, I'm not sure about the game. I don't know if I'll like it or not. I'll buy it on Stadia so that if it's bad, I'm not being burned as much for money, right?
Exactly.
So and now there's a marketing intrigue there. There's something that's like, okay, this makes sense. What doesn't make sense is charging full price for the game. Why? Why would I? Why would you do it? What advantage is there to Stadia to Steam or regular consoles? And I'll tell you, it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that they market is the fact that it's like, oh, you don't need a console anymore. But why would you not want a console?
Yeah, like what's...
you buy a if you play video games, you have a video game console. That's the rule. That's
the point.
If you want to just hop in for fun, then you can just. I mean, if you're not a gamer and if you want to play a video game, you're gonna get a game console. If you're not a gamer but you want to play a game, you're gonna play a game on your phone. That's how that works.
Phone or your computer.
There's a certain demographic for these games, and the demographic that doesn't own a console aren't for these games.
And somebody said, I think they said for you to stream at 4K, it's 15 gigs an hour.
That is, especially for people who have data caps.
Yeah, anybody with data caps, it's ridiculous. It's like, what? Why? And even if you don't have a data cap, like, yeah, technically I have unlimited bandwidth, but they will shorten down your bandwidth amount that you can take if you're ingesting a ridiculous amount. Internet companies are like, oh, okay, you're taking too much. We're going to, you have unlimited, but we're going to shrink it down so that, you get lag and you get all these problems so that you stop. Because if you're eating a monstrous amount of bandwidth and 15 gigs an hour, that is ridiculous.
Now, let's talk about that launch lineup.
Yeah, 12 games.
Woo! Yeah, dude, heavy hitters. And you know what's going to be even better? A lot of these games require like precise button presses. When you're streaming that, ooh, you ain't going to get that.
Yeah. So, did you hear about the predictive input? Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Oh man, you're going to love this. So, one of the VPs at Google came forward and was talking, one of the representative, I don't know if he's like a vice president or whatever, some schlep who thinks that this idea is good, where they said that yes, there is a possibility of button input, but that's okay because they're creating an AI that will actually do an input for you if there's lag, and it will do a predictive input.
Oh my God. My head hurts.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh yeah, fighting game. Yeah, think about that.
I was just about to say, if I'm playing Mortal Kombat 11 and the AI is like, oh, you're gonna punch. I was like, no, I wanted to jump. And you're like, no, you wanted to punch.
Or like, hey,
I hit up. No, you hit X, man.
And could you imagine, like, oh, this person hit block 12 times. That must be the 13th time it's blocked. Oh, they want to do their special.
Oh, my bad, man. I got it next time. All right. Okay, you want to jump now. No, I want to block. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you meant jump. That is so stupid. Oh, my God.
Let that sink in.
I had no idea.
Predictive inputs.
That's like auto-generated captions. Oh,
like, doesn't
wow.
that make your head hurt? Like, what? It's like, oh, we knew that there was going to be lag. Don't worry, we have the fix for you. It'll play the game for you.
Can you imagine playing Assassin's Creed and you're on top of a building and Google Stadia is just like, oh, you want to jump off? And you're like, no. No, I got you, fam.
You want to go backwards, right? Where you can't. No!
I gotta be stealthy. Oh, you want to run forward, bro? No, what? Okay, so the launch lineup. We got Assassin's Creed. Okay, cool. Who cares? You got Destiny 2. That game's free. I haven't heard about it. Just Dance 2020. How are you going to play that? How are you going to play Just Dance on Stadia?
There's no more. Is it just a rhythm game now? Like,
no, I know you can play Just Dance with your smartphone, but you need precise. Oh man!
Hey, predictive.
I am struggling to explain the situation. So, you need precise movement to go with the dances. If the dance is delayed by like 40 seconds and you're just standing there, the game's like, bro, you suck at dancing. Oh,
what's the next
wow.
titles?
Oh my god. Okay, Kine. Haven't heard it. Don't know what it is. Mortal Kombat 11.
Again, button input prediction.
Yeah. Okay. Red Dead 2. I'm really curious to see how that's gonna run.
Is there any new games?
All 3 Tomb Raiders?
Nope.
No, not all 3 Tomb Raiders. Wait, is it? Yeah, it is. All 3 Tomb Raiders. Samurai Showdown, which I think is recent, and Thumper, which is a rhythm game. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then afterwards, they're going to be adding Doom Eternal. How? That's not going to work. That's not going to work well.
This is so dumb.
So compare this to a service like PlayStation Now, where they don't advertise it as the future of gaming. They advertise it as, hey, this is an option.
Right.
Because the way I explain it to people at work is that, one, it was their response for backwards compatibility because the PS3 is extremely hard to emulate.
Right.
So they just made some servers, and then you just play the game on a server. And I also advertise it as, hey, if you're going on vacation and you're in like California at a hotel and you have pretty good hotel Wi-Fi, but you want to play your PS4, you can just log into PS Now and then play your whatever game you have on there.
Yep.
And then your save data goes to the cloud. So when you get home and get on your PS3 or PS4, your save data is right there.
Right.
So it's just convenient. It's not a replacement for your PS4.
Right. So I got one more thing to show here. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. So the game, so the big issue with Stadia too is that it's launching and it's missing features that it was originally going to say.
Oh yeah, I heard about that, but I didn't know what the features were.
I got them right here. I pulled them up. So
oh yeah,
here we go. So here are the features that's missing. Number 1, Stadia's product director reveals that the wireless controller won't support wireless headphones for TV play on day 1.
What? Wait, what? What?
It won't. It's like, so if you have wireless headphones hooked up to your TV, it won't work.
What? Why? What?
Number 2,
What?
It gets dumber. Trust me, your IQ points are about to drop. Google is caught adding a disclaimer that you'll initially have to plug a USB-C controller into the wireless controller to use it with the PC or phones.
Wait, say that again.
You have
say
to
it one more time.
Google is caught adding a disclaimer that you'll have to plug a USB-C cable into the wireless controller to use it with PCs and phones. So, not so wireless now, is it?
Why is it not wireless anymore?
It gets better. It turns out your Stadia pre-order won't necessarily arrive on launch day because Google isn't shipping them all at once.
Why? What's happening?
There's more. There's 3 more points.
Stop.
There's 3 more. Google's Google Studio lead Jade Raymond admits it may be quote unquote several years before a big game takes full advantage of the cloud.
What do you mean several years?
Several.
What? How big of a time investment is this?
November. The next one is again. Google reveals only 12 games will be available at launch, so we knew that. The next one, the last one, but this is gonna hurt. In a Reddit AMA, Google says that at launch, Stadia won't give you that buddy pass for a friend for the first couple of weeks, won't offer Google Assistant features except asking Google to launch a game, won't stream 4K or HDR to Chrome PCs, won't offer any games with Keystream Connect, State Share, or Crowdplay multiplayer and YouTube features, and it won't work on Chromecast Ultras that weren't purchased as part of the Founders Edition package until they get a firmware update.
Is this product finished?
No!
Oh my god. Why doesn't my Google product, why doesn't my Google service work with all of my Google products? Is something wrong? Is something just not working right? Dude, we're not waiting. You can have a couple more months. You can have another year to fix this. We're not going to complain,
We're not holding our breath.
Why are you rushing it? What? Oh,
it hurts. Wow. There's nothing, like, it's not working. It's half the features aren't there. To say this is half-baked is not, it's not even half-baked.
Hey guys, I got the dough ready. Yeah, ship it. What? Yeah, no. Just ship it out, man. But should we wait a little longer? Yeah, you know what? Ship that batch, and then we'll ship the second one after that one. Oh, okay. Before my IQ goes down even lower, let me explain to you my experience with Google Stadia. So me and a buddy at work, he had this experience first, but our experience was similar. There was a Best Buy. There is a Best Buy here, and they had a Google rep that was demoing Stadia.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I gotta try this. So what ended up happening is that I went there, and he was like, hey man, you play video games? And I was like, yeah, bro, what's up? You epic? And then he was like, I got Google Stadia right here. Here's a controller. You can sit down. You can play any game you want. But he was like really pushing Assassin's Creed. Like he was like, you can play anything you want, but you should totally play Assassin's Creed. So pick a game, Assassin's Creed, and you can start playing, man. So I sat down, and it was on this big table, and all it was a Chromecast plugged into the TV, and they gave me this controller. Which, by the way, I'm not sure if all of them are gonna feel this or if this is just a demo, but it was like super cheap. Like it was Walmart 360 branded, like demo kiosk cheap. It felt disgusting.
Hot pause.
So Tech-Tex. So. He was explaining to me, he's like, yeah, man, it's connected to the Wi-Fi, and the game is running on our servers, and the big thing is that load times are going to be instant. There's going to be no load times. The game's going to start up right away, and you start playing it, man. No input lag. It's going to be great. I was like, cool. I'll totally take your word for it. So I grab it, I navigate to Assassin's Creed, and I hit launch, and then it goes to the title screen, and then I hit load game. So I hit load game, and then it's loading. And then it's loading, and then it is loading, and then 30 minutes later.
No.
Half an hour later. There? I sat for 30 minutes because he was like tugging on his car like, it's the Best Buy's Wi-Fi, man. I was like, nah, I worked here, man. It's not Best Buy's Wi-Fi. He's like, yeah, it is. So I sat there, and then the game finally loaded, and I was like, oh, I forgot I was playing Assassin's Creed. And he was like, and he was writing notes down like really vigorously in his notepad.
Failing.
So I'm playing the game. I'm bored. So I'm playing the game, and it looks like I thought I was playing Minecraft for a second because of how bad it looked. And I was like, is this Assassin's Creed, man? He was like, yeah, it's Assassin's Creed. What are you talking about? And I was like, no, don't worry about it. So I'm playing Assassin's Creed. The input lag is like bearable. Like at some points it just didn't register, but it got better, I guess. But I was playing the game and then it just crashed. The game just crashed. He's like, sorry, man, you want to go again? And I was like, nah, I'm all right. You're good, man. He was like, oh, all right. And I walked away, and he was like checking under the table and looking at the back of the TV like, what is going on? And I walked out, and I was like, that was probably the worst like demo I've ever seen. Like, I've seen the Uncharted 4 E3 demos where the game just didn't work. This was like so much worse than that, because the dude was just like sweating profusely, tapping his foot like, come on, guys. So that's my experience with Google Stadia. This was like I want to say 4 months ago.
Wow, this product is not done. It's not done. It's launching in 3 days, I believe.
Dude, 3 days. And the launcher editions, did you say you weren't getting it day one?
No,
or
not
something like that.
It turned. If you pre-ordered it, it won't necessarily arrive on launch day because Google isn't shipping them all at once. They're shipping them in parts.
Oh my god, that's so stupid.
I still can't believe how dumb this whole idea and concept is. So, you just...
Well, hey, bright side, on the next podcast, we're going to see a lot of people using it, so we'll be back with some fresh topics.
Part 2.
Yeah! Google Stadia Cinematic Universe.
So, oh wow, we ran over our time quite a bit, but first hour segment, that'd be pretty cool. So, anyway... Thank you everyone so much for tuning in to Wumpa Time. We are now starting to expand even further to other podcasts.
Yes.
Shemp, could you tell us what podcast where you can catch us now, other than YouTube?
So other than YouTube, if you're on the go and you just need us in your car, we are on SoundCloud. Right now we just got approved for Google Play Music, where all the podcasts are. We're currently in the process of getting approved for Spotify, and we're trying to get on iTunes. So that's 4 different streaming platforms. Whatever you use, Android, iOS, whatever you got, we're going to be on there. Google, I'm not sure how quickly they update the feeds. So like when we upload the video of the podcast is when I put it on SoundCloud, and that's where our RSS feed is.
Yes.
So the other... the other companies just need to get the feed. I don't know if it's going to be immediately or if it's going to take like a day, but regardless, you could just follow us on those, and then you'll get updated whenever we get a new episode out.
Yes, and don't forget to follow Canadian Guy A or Shemp Official over on Twitter, so that you can stay up to date with whenever we drop Wumpa Time. So,
and subscribe to Canadian Guy A's channel, because that's where the podcast is always going to drop.
Yeah. So thank you all so much for listening in today. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we can't wait to see you guys next Saturday.
Bye-bye.